Hi everyone. Hope you all are good. We are here for grade 4 math. You can find all the lessons on epstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password as provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 4 math and then click on view all lessons. There you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter multiplication. The lessons we're going to cover today are properties of multiplication, distributive property, find the missing factor, multiply using the distributive property, estimate products multiplied by one digit numbers. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. Let's just start with the lesson that is properties of multiplication. Properties of multiplication are very important, right? So please focus on the lesson. Which equation shows the identity property of multiplication? The identity property is if you multiply any digit by 1, the number does not change. The number stays the same. Whatever number it is, when it is multiplied by 1, the number stays the same. So the option that shows the property of multiplication is 2 times 1 equals 2. Which property of multiplication is shown 3 times 1 times 9? 3 times 1 times 9. So when you have three numbers involved in multiplication, on both sides, just the order of multiplication is different. That is the associative property. Let's just start with the test questions. Which equation shows the associative property of multiplication? 0 times 2 equals 0 is 0 property. Associative property is the one in which both sides you have three numbers involved. They are the same numbers. Just the group you made is different. Here you have 9 times 6, here you have 6 times 3. So option number 2 is the correct option. That is the associative property. Which property of multiplication is shown? 0 times 9 minus 0 times 8 equals 0 times 9 minus 8. That is distributive property. When you have 0 times 9 minus 8 like this, you have multiplication and another sign over here, either addition or subtraction. Two of the operations are involved, then that would be the distributive property. That is distributive property. Which equation shows the zero property of multiplication? So which is the correct option? That is option number 2. 0 times 6 is 0. That is the zero property of multiplication. Which property of multiplication is shown? That is identity property. Option number 2 is the correct option. Which property of multiplication is shown? 5 times 0 plus 7 equals 5 times 0 plus 5 times 7. That is distributive property. Option number 1 is the correct option. Which equation shows the identity property of multiplication? Option number 1 is the correct option. That is the identity property of multiplication. That is the commutative property. When you have two numbers involved on the both sides, just the order of multiplication is different. That is the commutative property. So option number 1 is the correct option. So far we have learned zero property, identity property, commutative property, associative property, and distributive property, right? Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. Distributive property, find the missing factor. So now we're going to learn the distributive property. The first thing you need to learn about the distributive property that is very important is distributive property always involve two operations, the multiplication and either addition or subtraction. It would be like this: a number that is multiplying to a group, and there is some number that is adding or subtracting in the group. You can write it as a times b minus a times c. That is the distributive property, right? You need to find the missing number. So on the both sides, you have three numbers involved, 4 and 1. Then third one is 5. So the missing one is 5. That is actually like this: 4 times 1 plus 5. So it would be 1 times 4 and 4 times 5. Let's just start with the test questions. Use the distributive property of multiplication to find the missing number. So which number is it? See, you have three numbers involved over here: 4, 3, and 2. So when you add 3 plus 2 makes 5. 5 is already here. So the missing number is 4. The correct option is 4. The correct option is 4. Use the distributive property of multiplication to find the missing number. So which number is missing? Five it is, right? Because you can see here 5 is the common number that is multiplying, and also 3 plus 2 makes 5, so the missing number is 5. Use the distributive property of multiplication to find the missing number. So which number is missing? The missing number is 2. Option number 2 is the correct option. 2 it is. You already have 3 there. Use the distributive property of multiplication to find the missing number. So which number is missing? You can see here 4 is the common number, right? That means that is the number that is outside the bracket. Then you can add these two. 3 plus 2 makes 5. So that is 4 times 5. The correct option is 4 times 5. Option number 1 is the correct option. Mm, 4 times 3. You must have add. Oh, I selected the wrong option. That is 5. Sorry. Type the missing. Use the distributive property of multiplication to find the missing number. So which number is missing? The missing number is 4 is the common number. 4 is already here. 3 is here. So the next number is 2. The correct option is option number 1. That is true. 2. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let's just move on to next lesson. The next one is multiply using the distributive property. Use the distributive property to multiply. 7 times 12. So for the bigger numbers, that is easy if you use the method to multiply using distributive property. For example, you are given the hint, right? 12 equals 2 times 2 plus 10, right? So replace 12 with 2 plus 10. Now 7 times 2 and 7 times 10. 7 times 2 is 14 and 7 times 10 is 70. So 70 plus 18 is 84. Let's just start with the test questions. Let's see how do we multiply using distributive property. Use the property to of multiplication, distributive property of multiplication to find 6 times 12. You are given the hint. You need to write this 12 as 2 plus 10. So let's just replace 12 that equals 2 plus 10. So you have to now multiply. You have to do 6 times 2 and 6 times 10. So 6 times 2 is 12 and 6 times 10 is 60. So when you add that makes 72. The correct option is 72. Option number 2 is the correct option, that is 72. Use the distributive property to find the uh, of multiplication 6 times 14. The option is you need to write 14 as 10 plus 4. So replace the 14 with 10 plus 4, right? So when you have to multiply, you have to do 10 times 6 and 6 times 4. That is 84. The correct option is option number 1, that is 84. Use the distributive property to multiply to find 6 times 13. Very good. That is option number 178. It is. The correct option is 78. No one is answering the question. No one is trying to do the questions on the notebook. Why? Use the distributive property of multiplication 7 times 13, which is the correct option. That is option number 291. It is. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is 99. Use the distributive property to find 8 times 11. So, which is the correct option? Option number one is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is estimate products multiply by one digit number. Estimate the product. You need to multiply first and then you have to estimate. 30 times 9. 32 times 9, right? So you have to estimate the answer. You need to write them. The number in the form, they are easily multiplied. So replace 30 by 32 by 30. So 9 times 3 is 27 and you have a 0 that makes 270. Let's just start with the test questions. 58 times 9. So you need to estimate the number 58. That would be easy to multiply. So 58 is close to 60. So you can replace 58 times 58 by 60. You have to do 60 times 9. 9 times 6 is 54. That is 540. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is 540. Estimate the product. Round the second factor to the nearest 10 and then multiply. So you need to round second factor, that is 84. So 84 is rounded to 80. 80 times 7. You guys are here to learn, isn't it? 7 times 8 is 56. So that is 560. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 560. So 59 is rounded to 60. So that would be 420. Option number 2 is the correct option. 22 times 8. So which is the correct option? 22 is estimated to 20. 20 times 8 is, that is 160. Option number 2 is the correct option. 52 times 8, which is the correct option? That is 400. Option number 1 is the correct option. 6 times 67. 67 is rounded to 70. That is 420. 7 times 94. 94 is rounded to 90. 94 is rounded to 90. So 9 times 7 is 63. That is 630. Option number 1 is the correct option. 78 times 4, which is the correct option. That is 320. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we were working on grade 4 math. The chapter we were working on is multiplication. The lessons we have covered today are properties of multiplication, distributive property, find a missing factor, multiply using distributive property, estimate products multiply by one digit numbers. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. So if you need more help with any of the lesson, you can simply click on the live chat button. Tutors are available there to help you. Or either you can write down the questions in the chat box. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. So you can please ask question if you have any. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. Any questions? Okay, then that's all for today.